Hey there, I'm gonna teach you how to mow. First things first, there's a lot of steps in mowing. There's a lot of things to take into consideration and a lot of factors to what's gonna make your stripes look good, bad, weird, just not like the pros. The first bit of advice I would give anyone who's trying to make their yard look nice with maybe straighter stripes, more bold stripes, is gonna be learn how to make your stripes straight. It doesn't matter what kind of mower you have. If your stripes are crooked, curved, whatever it is, it's not gonna look that good. Even if you have a bad mower and your stripes are fairly straight and they look nice and they're even, well spaced out, your yard's gonna look a whole lot better than maybe the guy with the nice striper. So the first way to make a straight stripe, it's a very easy. So you're gonna get to your starting point. You're gonna look across the yard. You're gonna find a point where you would want your stripe to go directly toward. So in my case, I have a cornfield right behind me. This makes it easy for me. I can find one stalk of corn. I can lock my eyes on it. I don't take my eyes off, and I drive directly toward that stalk of corn. As soon as I get to that stalk of corn, and you turn around, you line yourself up so you're at the right distance between each individual stripe. So one stripe's not thicker or thinner. Once you get lined up, you're gonna find another point across the yard and you can drive straight to that. After a few weeks, the grass is gonna get trained. This is what you call grass when it will automatically kind of grow on a tilt. So right now, my yard is already trained. So I can leave this yard for maybe 5 weeks, come back, it would be very tall, but the stripes are still gonna be visible and the grass is still gonna be slightly tilted. This is awesome for the next time you wanna mow. So say you only mow once a week. If your grass is trained properly, when you come out to mow, your stripes are still gonna be there and you can just follow the previous stripes from the last week, assuming that the last week you made them nice and straight. Things to never do if you're trying to make a straight stripe: never follow a property line. Property lines are not usually straight. If you follow the property line, you might get like 1 or 2 straight stripes, but everything after that's gonna be crooked and jagged and it's just not gonna look good. What I would suggest is coming away from the property line like maybe 1 length of your mower, and then finding the point in the distance, driving straight toward it, making that first initial stripe. Once you do that, you can finish the lawn, and then when you're done with the lawn, you can make your final lap around the yard to clean things up and make it look nicer. Some things you're going to take into consideration is, where's the sun at? First off, if the sun is behind you, as you can see here, the stripes are going to be very bright. They're not going to be like a deep green or anything. They're going to be more of a brighter color. That's because the sun is behind me. I'll explain that in a second. And now over here, the sun is up in front of me, so the sun's shining back at me, which makes the stripes a little darker, a little more green looking. So another thing to take into consideration when you're mowing is, where's the sun gonna rise and where's the sun gonna set? Usually the best way to mow is, say the sun rises and sets like this. You want your lines to go this way. You can mow your lines going this way, the opposite direction that the sun will set. That's fine, you can do that. I'm not saying anything against that, which will be fine. I do that in parts of the yard. I will mow them diagonally from the sun, and it works out fine. So the way grass striping actually works is the angle of the grass. If the grass is tilted away from you per se, take it from my view, say the grass is tilted toward me like this. It's gonna reflect toward you guys, and it's gonna be very bright because the sun is shining on the grass and it's reflecting back to you. That means it's gonna be very bright. It's gonna be the lighter stripe, like one of these right here. Now, say the grass is facing like this. The sun's not gonna reflect off of a bunch of blades of grass like this as well as it does this. So the stripe is gonna appear darker colored, like one of these right here. So for instance, right now, the sun is up here, it's in front of me. So when it's shining back at me, this stripe is appearing light because the sun is in front of me right now and it's shining back at me. The light stripes are the ones that are tilted away from me. They're tilted like this. And the dark stripes are the ones that are tilted toward me like this. This is all good stuff to take in consideration when you're trying to figure out what pattern to use on your lawn and what direction you should mow it. I especially like to mow with the sun. This will make the stripes a lot more bold. They will make them look a lot nicer during the majority of the day. So now that we're down here by the grass, I'm going to show you a little something here. So you can see this light this light stripe here, is going this way. The grass is tilted this way. And this dark stripe, the grass is coming this direction. That's what's making the color, the tilt, everything about the grass here. Another thing to note, your grass is always going to stripe better if it is a little bit longer. So in this case, my grass is roughly about 2.5, 3 inches long. 3 inches of length for your yard is about the ideal length of grass that you want. It's what's going to show up the best for striping. If you let the grass grow out, it's going to get really thick. If you mow it a little taller, it's going to thicken. The grass will. There'll be more grass that grows between the gaps if you cut it tall. If you always cut your grass short, it's going to get sunburned and it's going to look terrible. Your grass is going to look dead most of the time. So as a general rule of thumb for me, I like to cut my grass taller. I cut my grass around 3 inches. This allows the grass to grow in thicker because there's more length and it can just thicken. The grass can thicken because the little stuff's not being cut. Only the big stuff is being cut. If you cut it at, say, 3 inches, only the big stuff's getting cut, which allows all the little grass to grow up and then all get cut evenly. This will make your lawn look a lot more thick. Plus, taller grass always looks better. If you live in a neighborhood with someone right next door and they cut their grass kind of short, if you mow your grass tall and you can do a decent job striping and mowing your lines straight, your yard's gonna look way better. Tall grass always looks better than short grass. Some things to take into consideration is what kind of mower are you using? Does your mower have a striper on it? Does your mower not have a striper? Are your blades sharp? So in my case, I'm using this John Deere mower. This is what I use all the time to mow. This does not come with a striper from the store. It mows kind of, and it leaves a lot of blade marks in the grass, which don't look that good. So now let's say you perfected your straight stripes and they look really nice. They're nice and straight, but you just don't have the striping part of it. Your grass isn't just nice and bold or anything like that. You don't have a striper on your mower, whatever the case may be. In my case, this mower does not come with a striper on it. I had to make my own striper. The only thing a striper is going to do is tilt the grass. It's going to tilt the grass the direction you're going. So this can be done in a lot of different ways. A lot of people will tow a roller behind them. What I did for a while was I made a small little rig that hooked up to the back here, and it was just a PVC pipe that would run along the grass and just push the grass over. Now I've upgraded my system a little bit here. I have these 2 pieces of angle iron, and in between them I have sandwiched this piece of rubber. I think this is originally like a horse mat. I got it at Tractor Supply Co. They're pretty cheap. They're probably about 20 bucks. It is definitely worth it. I've had this on here for like 2 years, and there's barely anywhere on it. This thing is super tough. So what I have is I just have the piece of angle iron, and I have another piece of angle iron, and right between I have the piece of rubber sandwiched by these bolts that run straight through the entire thing, and just clamp the 2 pieces together to hold it. And then what I've done here is I've taken off the back wheel, and I've put in these bolts to hold that in. For me, this system just barely works because with the deck all the way up, the tires don't touch the striper. In some cases, your deck may be too close to your tire to do this. In that case, I'm just going to say, figure it out. Find a way to do it. There's usually always a way to do it. The only thing I would not suggest is putting the striper at the front, because if it is at the front, it's going to tilt the grass down. When you go to mow the grass, it's not going to get sucked up in the blades as well because it's already tilted, and then it's just going to come out all jaggedy and weird, and it's not going to be all nice and even. If you can't fit the striper behind the blades, you can put it at the very back. You can take a piece of metal. You don't have to have the striper spanning the entire wheel space. You can just have it within the wheel space. I've seen people do this where they'll take a piece of metal or something that is the length of this right here, and then they will just put their piece of rubber right here. That's always a possibility. I just had enough room to do mine on the inside, so that's what I ended up doing. And once again, this lawnmower, stock, straight from the store, looks crappy. It leaves blade marks in the yard. It does not stripe. It just is a really bad mower for professional mowing. Know the width of your mower, know the length of your mower, know exactly how long your blade span is for each stripe, so that way you don't overlap or undercut each stripe. So here, The sun is up here. I mowed these stripes diagonally, so the sun will rise and set like this, but my stripes are still going this way. This is okay because you're practically going halfway between this and this, neither of which are a super good idea. It always works out pretty decent if you cut the middle, and it'll still have the same effect of being light and dark during parts of the day, but that's almost always how it will be. You can do checkered patterns, you can do diagonals in your yard, you can do all the way up straight, you can do all the way sideways. It really doesn't matter. Whatever is going to look best for your yard, you guys take that into consideration and make that judgment yourself. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not a pro. I don't know everything. Um, I don't own a business. I don't mow professionally. I just do it for fun and mostly to make the yard look good. If you want super pro advice on how to make your yard look amazing, go find another video. I'm just kind of showing you guys how to generally mow in a good manner, a good fashion. Try to get your stripes straight, even, bold. One of the main factors when striping is making sure your stripes are all the same width. You don't want one stripe being thin, one stripe being very wide, one stripe being not the right size. This just looks very bad. You always want to make sure that each stripe is the right width, all even and all the same width. On our mower, it's easy to tell where the blades end, and that's usually at the end of this wheel. Not the beginning or the inside of the wheel, but the outside of the wheel is usually where the blades stop. Another tip for dispersing the grass into the yard and not having it be clumpy and stuck in the rows and looking bad is to lift this flap up. Lift it up, bungee cord it, do whatever you can. Just get it up and out of the way so the grass can fly out better and so it can be dispersed onto the yard a little better and not clump in each individual stripe. That can also be avoided by just mowing frequently and not waiting 3 weeks to mow your lawn. If you wait too long to mow your lawn every week, your grass is always going to be so tall, it's going to clump up in the rows, and it's going to look like you're baling hay. This is not cool. When it dries out, it looks terrible. After a couple weeks, you're going to get kind of like these little dry, dead spots, and that's all because of the grass clumping because you didn't mow often enough. Also, guys, don't be a hippie. Don't not mow part of the yard because you don't like it. Mow it anyway, and take your time. If you're having trouble getting impatient with your lawn, maybe you're tired because you mowed so much of your lawn already, take a break. Go get some coffee. I don't know. Go get a cold glass of water. Take a break, figure things out. Don't speed run through your lawn. Another common thing is people think, oh, maybe I can mow my lawn faster if I do big circles, or if I circle all the trees and connect them all. It is not faster. The most efficient way for doing a lawn is just straight lines, coming back and forward. Don't do circles. If you have a small circle section in your yard that's surrounded by mulch or something, that's totally fine. Probably the most efficient to do a circle section of the yard. But if you're like me and the yard is just a normal yard, do stripes. It's the most efficient, fast way to do it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a pro. I don't do this for a living. These are just some helpful tips that I found while mowing myself. Another thing to keep in mind is I don't fertilize or aerate our lawn at all. You don't have to fertilize or aerate your lawn to make it look good. You just need to let it grow out. A lot of people will think, oh, my lawn looks terrible because my stripes don't look good. It's all because the grass isn't right or because the grass isn't healthy. You can have the most unhealthy grass look half decent if you simply mow it the correct way and make your stripes straight and bold. If you guys have any questions, ask. If you have any recommendations or anything that you would like me to try, put it down there. I'm free.